the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to break news that you're not going to take your grandchild to see their grandparents on Christmas on a podcast. So if you're breaking this news now, I would stop you. I would encourage you, back it up a little bit and think about what you're going to commit to. In case any family member is listening to this podcast, you don't want to be breaking news to the grandparents.
Welcome to My God Up Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I are joined by our friends Jon Tweets Sports, Hunter Jones, and Coach Trill Bill for the first ever My God Up Podcast Christmas Regale. We talk all about the Dawgs, the 2023 season, bowl season, college football playoff, signing day, you name it. And of course, we spend some time just with friends to have a bourbon and talk about the holiday season. So, hope you all enjoy the first ever My God Up Podcast Christmas Regale. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. All right, when you say should we be recording 3 times, the rule is you have to start actually recording. Welcome to the My God Up Podcast Christmas special. Other podcasts have like signing day things. We're like, it's Christmas. So, okay. I do want to like at least kind of like ground everyone, you know, in case this is your first time listening, maybe, probably not, but make sure we know who's here. So we got Jon Tweets Sports with us. John, say hello to the folks.
Hello, everyone. Happy
Tweeter
holidays,
Sports.
Merry Christmas. Cheers.
Also, happy birthday.
Hey,
Yeah, birthday.
another year older. Would not spend it with no one but you guys.
So all friends of the show, all returning guests. We got Hunter Jones on. Hunter, say hello to the folks.
How's it going, everybody?
Go Dogs. Go Dogs, Hunter.
Go Dogs.
And the infamous Coach Trill Bill.
Oh, we should. This is where the soundboard would have come in handy.
Oh, man. Yeah.
17 punts by the Big Ten next year. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. I know one thing I said before we hit record, when I said should we be recording, was that John was going to kill me if we didn't do this. John Powell has been like, Jim, when are we doing the Christmas thing? When are we getting the squad together? And so we made it happen. So yeah. And on the eve,
I rammed it down all your throats.
But man, yeah. So I don't know. Happy holidays. Most of us are either off work or about to be off work. Take some time off. Spend some time watching football bowl season. I know a lot going on with the Dawgs. I actually forgot that tomorrow was signing day. What do I need to know? Do I need to know anything?
Did you hear about the Dylan Raiola poem? If not, we'll do the "Twas the Night Before" Dylan Raiola's announcement reading in a little bit. But if you didn't miss it, then you're fine still. He's just going to Nebraska.
Yeah. Dylan Raiola is not going to be part of the class. So if folks were waiting for Dylan Raiola to sign with Georgia, that's not going to happen.
Do we know how Jerry's doing? Our guy Jerry loved the Raiola update, so hopefully he's okay.
Shout out Jerry.
I don't know what, like,
I guess he's not a cog. He's not a cog anymore.
He's not a cog. I actually I'm at the point where like I want the old signing day back. Like, and I don't know if this is like between signing day happening tomorrow, the portal just opened. I don't know. Maybe it's like we've been kind of shielded from it the last 2 years because we were just so focused on the playoff the last 2 years. And now this year, like we're actually back to being able to focus on it. Like I don't know. This just doesn't feel like the right time of year to be having all these conversations anymore. Like we thought, should we have an early signing day or could we? And we didn't think, should we or something? I don't know. It was weird.
I like the way you put that where it's the time to focus on it. We're back at the time to focus on it or whatever you just said, because that hurt me a little bit, Jim. We Georgia fans have not focused on it because we have been making a national championship run the last 2 years and we're just not this year. That's the truth of the matter. In general, early signing day and portal season and all that stuff is as crazy as it's feeling right now. I think the bigger thing this year, you're probably feeling more of this like quarterback movement, which is like, you know, Kyle McCord leaving Ohio State and going to Syracuse. Like all of this craziness with quarterbacks, I think is probably a little bit bigger than it was in previous years. But But I mean, I guess it wasn't that much bigger than. I mean, you had Spencer Rattler go from Oklahoma to South Carolina. You had Caleb Williams follow Lincoln Riley. I mean, all these moves these years have been really big. I think for Georgia fans, we just happen to have time to tune into it right now, unfortunately.
You also got Ole Miss, basically coming in and seemingly gobbling up everyone too.
Dropping the bags.
Yeah. Hunter, enlighten us. What's going on?
Lane Kiffin convinced his boosters to sell out. The Grove Collective is doing their job. They're going for it. They know that if they win 10 games, they can make the 12-team playoff next year. Yep. And with a favorable schedule that doesn't have Alabama on it, I mean, it's got Georgia on it, but other than that, it's like the next best team on the schedule is Oklahoma, LSU. You don't know what you're going to get with either of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean it's true. Lane Kiffin, he's making a big bet, and the Grove Collective and Ole Miss NIL making big bets on the 12-team playoff, and I don't blame them. I mean, at some point, it's like you got to prove you can win at Ole Miss and make a playoff. Now you have a 12-team field. You likely would have been close to that field this year. So why not invest? And that's the world we live in, right? The world we live in is going to the highest bidder. Again, for Georgia fans, like your coach, everyone should know that your coach doesn't play that game. Your coach he's never going to be the highest bidder. If that's what you're here for, that you're not going to find it at Georgia. It's going to be culture fit first. It's going to be team need second. And then, if Georgia does use NIL, but Georgia certainly is Kirby Smart cares more about the whole than the individual parts. And so people worry, like, why can't Georgia get in on these, 5-star wide receivers? It's like, well, I mean, the 5-star wide receivers are insanely expensive in today's market from the portal. And so instead, you go and get a guy like London Humphreys because you built a offensive scheme around guys like Ladd McConkey, who's probably going to the NFL. And
it's the exciting whites. Yeah. It's the exciting white strategy, John.
There it is.
Where's Trey?
It's Rashard Mendenhall.
Rashard Mendenhall's not a fan.
Man, he stepped in it, didn't he?
Boy, so yeah, Kirby wants to reload the Chardonnay and the Sauvignon Blancs of the world, and not necessarily go with your hardcore liquors that are going to cost you the top dollar. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only one Evan Stewart. There's a couple white Zinfandels that'll get the job done just as well, and it'll be a little bit cheaper.
Nice. Well, Jim, if we ever get London on, we'll have to ask him, or if we ever get Ladd on again, we'll have to ask them, are you a Chardonnay or are you a Sauvignon Blanc?
To figure that out. Man, yeah, we got missed opportunity when we had Ladd on. We whiffed on that one.
I don't know, would have added to our time.
Yeah. Seriously. Do you guys, I was listening to Split Zone Duo earlier this week, and they talked about this at length, and they were basically kind of like asking, like, should we change the calendar? Like, does the calendar need to change? Like, do we really need all this chaos? And especially, you mentioned going forward with a 12-team playoff. I mean, you've got a lot more teams. You've got 3 times as many teams next year, this time of year, dealing with, hey, I'm like actually in the postseason and I'm dealing with the portal and signing day. I mean, maybe like does signing day move even earlier, like before this season? Or do you just get rid of it? I miss the February, like now that it's dead now, like this is signing day. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to moving it back to kind of how it was, at least from the signing day.
Yeah. Jim's like bring back fax machines. Bring back fax machines.
Like there was something hype about, college football season ended and you're kind of in that. Mm-hmm. It's like the dead zone of life. Basically, it's winter and nothing's happening. There's no football. But then you had February there. Mm-hmm. Signing day, you could get excited about college football for a day and, watch as all the chaos unfolded. If there was chaos on any given year, I miss February signing day.
Yeah, me too. I know, Coach, what do you think?
Well, I was about to say, I think with a portal, there's got to be balance to it. And I've kind of come to the conclusion the past, 3 now, almost going on 4 years of this, is that early signing day is really taken over. And like Hunter said, there was always something cool about February signing day. So the early signing day is kind of taken the luster of that away. And I think, a lot of us are traditionalists and would like to see that come back to its, what it was. But at the same time, I say there has to be some balance to it. And by that, I mean, if you don't have early signing day, then that means maybe you extend the portal deadline by a little bit, by a couple weeks. But with also that, if you're going to have early signing day, then maybe you just don't have a later signing day, or you extend that later signing day into March, maybe first week of March, first or second week of March, get it done before St. Patrick's Day, possibly. But at the same time, again, I've always just been, with all the new changes, trying to find that balance. And I think the NCAA has dropped the ball on a lot of these things, especially recruiting. I mean, I know I'm trying to give them credit by saying they've dropped the ball on a lot of these things, but at the same time, the balance part of it, to me, that's just the word I keep going back to, is, if we do take away the early signing day, extend the portal deadline. And then if you don't take away the early signing day, then, you got to find some way to mitigate it. Maybe you tell these guys for the portal, hey, you got to know by, maybe December 14th, December 15th.
I feel like
rather than later.
Yeah, if you could have it make sense, right? We're like, okay, I do either like I go through my signing period and then I know what I need to fill based on the portal, or vice versa. Like having it all at once with this like free for all. You got the portal, you've got signing day, you've got who's going into the draft. Like they're doing the coach. I mean, it's got to be a nightmare for coaches right now.
With the season extension, with the 12-game play or 12-team playoff going into almost, the week before the Super Bowl or 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, the season's going to get extended. So that's why I was saying, like, recruiting should also possibly get extended to give those coaches some time to go talk to these kids. And if that's the case, then I would say, my opinion, just eliminate early signing day, make it, March, whatever, to give those coaches enough time. Because again, you said there are going to be 3 times as many teams, 3 times as many coaches looking to get recruits. So give them at least some more time. That's just my opinion.
Coaches get paid $1 gazillion to figure this out. I'm not worried about coaches. I'm not. They get paid millions of dollars to like deal with all of this chaos. Who's getting lost in it are these high school kids who are getting recruited over, who have made a commitment a year ago, 2 years ago, and they're just trying to make it to early signing day to ink the paper without getting recruited over by somebody in the portal. And so I think what needs to happen, and then they're also trying to figure out, is my coach even still going to be there? Right. It's like the person I committed to. Right. And so for me, I just take a step back and I'm like, yeah, I get the coaches, whatever. They're making literally making millions and millions of dollars. And the ones that aren't are making $500,000 and more. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like, the recruiting staffers, recruiting coordinators, those folks in the building are the ones that are really feeling the pain, and these high school kids. And so for me, I would push it back. Like, I would push it back. I would have signing day in February. I would treat it like we used to treat normal college enrollment. I would have an exception for early enrollees if you have like an opportunity to. That's the challenge, is the early enrollees. That's what pushed the early signing day, is all of a sudden everybody was like, I want to enroll early. I want to be there for spring practice. I want to be there for like all these things, right? That's what shifted early practice. Yeah, that's what shifted early signing day. You've got guys on campus right now for bowl practice that technically, haven't even graduated or just about to graduate high school. And so that's what is driving the early signing day period, is that early enrollee. So you got to figure that out. But I think you need to give the high school kids an opportunity to get through the portal mess, to get through whose coach is going to be there and who's not, and make a decision on where they're going to commit. And then I think, over time, that hopefully, or likely, especially when you talk about NIL and contracts and stuff like that, hopefully that keeps this turnover. It minimizes the turnover in the future, because people are making better decisions all around. Coaches are saying like, yeah, I'm not going to recruit a player from the portal because you're my guy. And the kids can see that. They go through the portal season. The coach didn't fill it with the, 4-star defensive tackle reject from the other school. And you're like, yeah, he's riding with me, so I'm gonna sign. So I think it sounds like a very, kind of old school, like simplistic solution. There's a lot of complexities you got to figure out, but that's what I think the crux of it is like, it's those high school kids are having to make decisions earlier and earlier. They're having to commit to schools a year and a half ahead of time because they're worried about not having a spot at the school that they want to go to. And then with a portal and everything else, they still may not have a spot by the time it comes around. And so that's what's got to get figured out, in my opinion. And the NCAA is not doing you any favors with like this. You can transfer with unlimited, like no waivers, unlimited. Yeah. We're moving toward basically unlimited eligibility when you get to a place where it's like, yeah, if you can keep getting, degrees from the school, can you keep playing? It's like, I think there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. So
we've got Stetson Bennett coming out there for his 10th season.
No, we know Stetson hasn't gotten any degrees, so you got to actually like.
Well, that's why I said 10th season.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like grad transfers. You imagine somebody getting like five you get like somebody getting like 5 master's degrees just to keep playing college football.
Man, I respect it, man. There's some of these kids like that are transferring. I saw some kids that were transferring to like to Austin Blasky, right? Like he transferred to UNC. Like he's now going to Chapel Hill. That's a really good school.
Yeah, well, he graduated from Georgia, so he's transferring as a grad transfer. So
yeah. So he is going to work on that master's degree.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
I mean, I remember when that was the only way to do this, right? Mm-hmm. Or one of the only. There was the only way to transfer and not sit out a year, right? Was the grad transfer? That was the
grad transfer, yeah.
Or get a waiver. I mean, they've always had some semblance of a waiver.
Yeah.
Situation, but it was extremely hard at one point.
Yeah, I mean, even Luke Ford, he got screwed by the whole system with the transfer waiver. He was like, I have relatives, like a relative on his deathbed that that's never seen me play, and I want to be closer to him to help support my family. And the NCAA was like, yeah, no. But then they gave, some kid who was just like, I kind of wanted a different shot at a different place. It's a little far away. But
Justin Fields. Justin Fields.
Yeah, they're like, Justin, yes, you didn't like it at UGA, but you wanted to do better at Ohio State, sure. And then you have, like Grayson Lambert, what was the example, got his undergrad at Virginia, then comes down to Georgia for his master's and breaks the record against South Carolina, and then literally drives everybody crazy for the rest of his career at Georgia.
made Steve Spurrier quit.
Made Steve Spurrier quit, and then Kirby started him first game, and like 3 drives in, Kirby was like, "All right, Easton, you're up."
Yes. Well, I don't know, on the quarterback train, we talked about the quarterback we're not getting next year, but we do have another freshman signing in Puglisi. And then we're running it
Dawgs.
back. We're going to run it back. Carson, it's official. So I don't know how are we feeling about Mr. I don't know. Was that surprising at all that he came back to anyone? Or are we all
Hunter? You need to talk about Carson Beck. I want to hear your thoughts.
Carson Beck.
I'm going to make Hunter talk on this podcast. Hunter is the most polite. All of us are talking over each other. Hunter is like the most polite person. We're going to make Hunter talk.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing I've learned at my job really quickly is it's better to just listen before you speak. And I've just kind of taken that everywhere with me since taking this job.
I've learned that, but the bourbon just makes it a lot harder.
But my opinion on Beck is that he made Ravioli quit. The timing was, I mean, we saw the timing, but before it was all official, I think in the chat we had kind of discussed that this was coming and that there was definitely a connection between Beck's decision to come back and Raiola's decision to not come at all. He thought he was going to come and have the opportunity to play his freshman year at Georgia, and with Beck coming back, that was not happening at all. So he just got on out.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, did he really think that he was going to come in and start no matter what? Like, I mean,
did you see did you read the poem? Did you read? Wait. Did you read the poem?
Yeah, I read the poem. I mean, obviously,
in hindsight, signing day.
He thinks he's going to be the savior wherever he goes. He's the next savior of that school.
That's crazy. That's just mind-boggling because there's literally multiple guys. When he committed, there were multiple guys that have been on campus multiple years.
Listen, I'm not gonna talk bad about any player making a decision where they feel like what's best for themselves. I hope that Dylan Raiola has fantastic career. I hope. I mean, he's going to play. His dad's name is literally inside that stadium, right? So it's like, I mean, come on. Like, I don't have any issue with any of that. But I mean, it is a kid that was committed to Ohio State, and Ohio State took a quarterback and he decommitted, and he waited on Georgia to see if we were going to take if Arch Manning was going to choose Georgia. Arch Manning didn't choose Georgia, then he committed to Georgia, right? So like, there is a pattern, and he definitely was, in my opinion, and from what I've heard, he was going to commit to Nebraska, whether Carson Beck came back or not. But there was, there was some conversation. It wasn't much, but there was communication in the last few days leading up to it of like, from his camp and the Georgia staff. But I don't think he was. I think he was going to go to Nebraska whether Carson Beck came back or not. But at the end of the day, this is somebody that, I mean, the guy's, he's moved around. He came to Georgia to play at Buford when Buford didn't have a clear-cut starting quarterback. Buford wanted, it's like there are these patterns, I think. And so I'm, again, not talking bad about the guy. Like, if you want to play and your dad's a NFL, Pro Bowler and Hall of Famer at Nebraska, it's like, dude, it's a great spot for you. Obviously, the poem and disparaging Georgia, who was very, very good to him, who did nothing but help him with his move to the state, who did nothing but welcome him with open arms, to kind of lured by Georgia and a cog in the machine. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit tough, but at the end of the day, I mean, you want it to be a business. You're gonna get treated like a business. So, I mean, that's the real facts of the matter right now. And so if you play, business games, then you can't get mad when the college football world and social media and everybody else treats you like a business. And so I think that's the reality that we're going to be facing with a lot of these commitments going forward, where it is like you open yourself up to scrutiny, you open yourself up, and if his parents are okay with that and Matt Rule's okay with that and everybody's signing off on that, then, they're the ones that are going to have to lead him through whatever, challenges come, because we know, guys, I mean, we know, like, Dylan Raiola is a very, very good football player, but I really want people to dig really deep and think about the true freshmen who have gone to programs and started and had real success. I mean, you got to dig. There are not many of them. Right? Like, I mean, Quinn Ewers didn't. Caleb Williams didn't. Like, Caleb Williams sat behind Spencer Rattler. Like, you go down the list, it's like a lot of these quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, like, I mean, shoot, even Bryce Young sat behind Mac Jones. It's like you go down the list, and it is hard to start in big time college football as a true freshman quarterback. So if that's the expectation you're setting for yourself, that's tough. But
Joe Burrow,
Trevor Lawrence was probably the last one that
Trevor
really
Lawrence
was successful.
Yeah, I mean, he was the last one. And Jake Fromm did it at Georgia, but Jake Fromm did it. It was a totally different type. I mean, it was a defensive led team. It was a team led by the running game. Jake Fromm was a very good true freshman quarterback, but he wasn't. Trevor Lawrence was the first one that if you see what's being communicated about Dylan Raiola from his own camp, his poem, his, dynasty, like all that stuff, Trevor Lawrence is probably the only one that's like was able to come out, his true freshman year and beat one of the best Alabama teams under Nick Saban by 28. I mean, just shredded them. So
even Fromm had to wait until someone got hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he didn't inherit the job.
Yeah,
right. Well,
I mean, the greatest quarterback in Georgia history, Stetson Bennett, had to wait until JT Daniels got hurt. Right. So, I mean, even the greatest of all time have to sit behind somebody.
What about Aaron Murray? Was Aaron Murray one of
Aaron Murray started as a true freshman.
Didn't he redshirt? He redshirted.
No, he started as a true freshman.
And he redshirted in 09, I thought. I remember getting that wrong. I know he started his first game as but I thought he redshirted. Maybe I'm getting that wrong.
No, he came in 10.
No, he redshirted, yeah.
Yeah, he redshirted in 09.
Yeah,
2010, he did start right away, but that was his redshirt freshman year.
His Wikipedia page, by the way, y'all, the listeners will think this is great. Murray redshirted during his freshman season because of a shoulder injury that he suffered during the fall. Georgia managed an 8-5 record and went 4-4 in the SEC under the leadership of senior quarterback Joe Cox.
Yeah.
It was an injury though. It was a medical red shirt. So
yeah. I was gonna say even Stafford, number 1 overall pick. I mean, did start many games, but as a true freshman, but didn't have that level of success at Georgia.
Yeah, so
it's kind of the flip side, like talking about Carson Beck, were we surprised about him going to the NFL? Like, I mean, the track record for 1-year starter quarterbacks in the NFL is not that great either, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he made the right call. And I mean,
especially the quarterback class.
Exactly. With the quarterback class, I feel like he's got, more to prove. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's something to say for the whole unfinished business type thing, right? I'm sure he's got a sour taste in his mouth right now, and wants to come back and give that, one more ride, give it another shot. It's like Tate told us, John, I always want to play in Sanford Stadium one more time. So,
hey, we broke the news first. We broke the news there first, which I guess that if I was like filing people under like whether or not I was surprised or not, like I kind of thought Tate was going to be for sure gone, but I'm pleasantly surprised that he's sticking around. Talking about all this portal talk, like everybody's like, oh, the quarterback, oh, this wide receiver, this defensive back. I'm like, where are the defensive and offensive linemen?
Yeah, for real. Well, I feel like, just going back to the Raiola thing real quick, I feel like his announcement almost reminds me kind of like Jermaine Burton, how Jermaine Burton bounced around. He was at 5 high schools in 4 years. Mm-hmm. Raiola bounced around to multiple high schools. And, some people were shocked when Burton, transferred to Alabama. And I said, I was just kind of, if COVID hadn't happened, Burton would have transferred earlier, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And that's just, maybe wanted new scenery, maybe wanted more exposure, whatever. But the other thing about the Raiola commitment thing is I thought about this. And I think, John, you kind of mentioned it. Kirby's got it all. He knows it all, like all knowing, all seeing kind of. No matter what, we may see them in the playoffs in like 3 or 4 years, maybe in that first round game or whatever. You got to know, if we do, Kirby's reading that damn poem before the game. He's reading it. He says, hey, listen up, trust your preparation. Listen to what this kid said 3 years ago. He's going to read it. So nice. I was going to say, he puts that out there. It's great, and I'm not going to bash the way he wants to go about it. That's his life. He can do whatever he wants. But if he plays Georgia, you got to know Kirby's reading that thing in the locker room.
No, he'll subtly reference it. He'll be like, "You guys are not just cogs in a machine."
And then Andrew Smart will be handing out pamphlets to the Nebraska fans in the stadium and just being that kid.
Oh man,
I love it. I don't think Kirby is that nuanced. I think he wants to break these bitches on offense and defense, no matter like who they are. I don't think there's a poem. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I think he uses it in the moment. And let's be honest, like we ain't seen Nebraska anywhere. Good Lord, Matt Rule.
Yeah.
If Georgia plays Nebraska, it is because Kirby Smart. There has been a failure of leadership, and we've fallen to the Gasparilla Bowl or something.
Well, yes. A friend of mine made a good point. He's like, Dylan Raiola said all that to maybe go 3-9 at Nebraska, then transfer to Boston College. And I'm like, at this rate with Nebraska, yeah. Possibly so.
Nebraska's schedule next year is tough. Anyway, all right.
It's not easy.
Yeah,
I'll wrap it up with the question for the for AP Jones. Was the poem not written by Chat GPT?
100% Chat GPT.
Can I break some news? I'll break some news to the My God a Podcast listeners. I actually ran the poem through an AI. There's a website that detects if something was written using AI, and it was 97% likely to have been written using AI.
Nice.
Specifically was GPT-4, which is ChatGPT. So
I wonder if it was his like fall semester ending project for senior year lit at Buford, like. Just kill 2 birds with 1 stone, man.
I don't know. I respect the efficiency. I mean,
seriously,
use your brain power for things that matter.
That said, if you really want to break it down, I'd love to get the English. I'd love to get the English teacher's opinion on it. Let's get a grade. Let's get it marked up in black.
He gets a 0. Plagiarism. Plagiarism. He didn't write it. He got a computer to write it. 0.
Done.
Jim, you'll have to share out. Did Did Chapel Bell Curve like send out that screenshot that you had sent me where
Yeah,
we're going in on the pros?
yeah. Nathan Lawrence evaluated it for its pros and like talked about like sometimes in poetry, like you break rules on purpose for style, and he was talking about how like it wasn't doing that. I can't do what Nathan said justice, but it's on the Twitter. It's on the Twitter. Go check it out.
Oh man, it was perfect.
Well, I don't know. It's Christmas episode. We can talk about whatever we want, but I mean, we are still the defending back-to-back national championships. Like, remember that time we went back-to-back? It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, listen, it doesn't this year's doesn't count, by the way, because an undefeated Power 5 conference champion was left out of the playoff. So we can't really know who would have truly won the national championship. So I think Georgia will still remain defending national champions no matter what happens in the college football.
Especially if Michigan wins it, because then it doesn't count at all.
It's cheating. Then it's like cheaters. You got cheaters. You got teams, an undefeated Power 5 conference champion left out. You got teams who really just abjectly should not be in there because of the way that they performed against South Florida, period. And then you got Texas, and we know Texas is cheating somehow. Like, I mean, whether it's in plain sight or not, we know that they're cheating somehow. So Washington is the only, I think, acceptable champion. But even Washington, it's like, it's the Pac-12 and it's a conference that isn't even going to exist after this year. So that doesn't count either. So I think the whole thing is null and void.
Yeah, the Washington's dog frauds. Yes. Bama's got an L already. Michigan is, hail to the cheaters, and then Texas. Yeah, Texas is just shady. So.
I mean, do we want to? I've been advocating like we want Michigan to win it all, because then there's an asterisk because it's going to get vacated, and so then the Dogs can go for the asterisk three-peat next year. That's my stance.
Fine by me.
But okay, so I know JP, you have
anyone but Bama.
Well, and you had thrown forth your conspiracy theory, right, on like getting Texas and Bama in. Good for the SEC to have two SEC teams, right? With Texas moving into the SEC next year, like, oh, welcome a new team that made the playoff. But I mean, Big Ten, same thing, right? With Washington, I know there's no conspiracy in Washington getting in; they're undefeated. But I mean, this playoff does set up perfectly for where college football is heading, in that you've got two teams that are going to be in the SEC. You got two teams that are going to be in the Big Ten. And I feel like they also made people mad on purpose to get us all clamoring for, oh, well, next year, the 12-team playoff fixes everything. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff. I don't know.
Watch next year. There's like two undefeated teams at the end. Yeah. At the end, it'll be like the perfect season for the BCS.
Right. That's why I think there should be a college football czar who, like fluxes how the postseason works every year based on how the season went. Because it's I don't know, college football is weird. You don't always need all this stuff. But
it's interesting. You have state legislatures petitioning.
Oh my gosh,
the NCAA and the football play, and you're just like, oh my gosh, can we just get to the games at this point? Like, or just take me to August 31st. Like. It's insane. And the funniest thing is, down in Florida, for the Florida State Legislature, it is a Gator grad that is doing this. But it was interesting what she said. On behalf of the people of the state of Florida, we feel this doesn't represent our state the best. So I was like, you know what? This is why these people get paid big money to word stuff in ways that even if I was a Georgia grad and like Tech was fighting for it, I'd be like, as a Georgia grad, I still want to see Tech lose, so this is funny, so we do not vote for them to get in. Right. That's just me. She's really nice. Yeah. And then you got that guy for the state legislature in Georgia up out of Trenton or out of Dade County saying, Georgia should be, and I'm just like, let us just play the Orange Bowl at this point. Like, listen, can we please?
Florida State has a lot of money. Those alumni have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So even though she's a Florida grad, there's a lot of political donations coming from Florida State,
especially in Tallahassee.
100%.
Well, we got one more game left, guys. We are going to play Florida State, and we can basically crush their souls in the process.
We're going to. Everybody's opting out for Florida State.
I was say, are they going to be able to field a team?
Yeah, I think they have 6 starters so far that have opted out, and I think that have officially opted out, and I think they may have like 3 that are either entered the transfer portal or flirting with the transfer portal.
How do you guys feel about the all of the hullabaloo about boycotting the bowl game?
Oh God, no. Let's play. Let's suit it up. Let's play. Kirby would never want to do that. Kirby would never want to, not in his wildest. I mean, even if Carson Beck was out and Brock opted out and Ladd opted out and everybody, and Marius was out and Cedric was out, if everybody was out, Kirby still say, no, we're lacing it up. We're going to tee that ball up at 4:00 on December 30th, and we're going to go kick their ass. Like that's, no, I don't want to boycott it at all. I want to play these guys just to show that, hey, they're not UCF from 2017. They got to go through us, and they got to go through the defending back-to-back national champions to do so. And like John was saying, Florida State's got a lot of people out. They don't have the depth that we do.
No,
Florida State has backups, but they don't have the depth that we do. And I think our depth is hungry to get after it. And they're going to be hungry to want to do something and show what they can do and say, hey, we got, guys going to the NFL. We got guys going to the portal. Coach, put me in. This is my time to show what I can do against an undefeated ACC championship team.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, these guys are going to be ready. And that's what I'm looking forward to see.
Yeah, and the truth is, I mean, this is a recruiting opportunity, right? For Kirby Smart, it's recruiting. And it was two things. It's recruiting, and it's proving that you were one of the 4 best teams in the country and you got wrongfully left out of the playoff. And so I think for Kirby Smart, I think it'll be a statement for Georgia, no matter who lines up for Florida State. I think it'll be he's going to try to prove a point, both in getting young guys playing in the game, recruiting. You want to keep guys in the fold because you still have another transfer window, and you want to get guys that feeling of being in the game. But I also think if Florida State, if they show up really down and hobbled and a bunch of guys opting out and all that other stuff, Kirby's is going to run it up. Like, I really believe that like he is going to try to make a point and also have some fun, in the process. I think that's where the program is. That's where he is. I think that's where we are, especially in a game like this. I think you're going to play a lot of players, and you're going to try to score as much as you can and have a good old recruiting exhibition in Miami.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much not just a Georgia's fan perspective of this game. I was having a conversation with my dad this afternoon, and my dad is as big of an Alabama fan as there is. And for everybody on the Twitter who doesn't know, like, I was raised an Alabama fan. Yes, I'm sorry.
What kind of jacked up family did you?
Yeah,
you got Ole Miss, you got Georgia.
Yeah, raised Alabama, went to Ole Miss, and then met Meg and turned to Georgia. I left Alabama behind when I went to Oxford, though. Like,
yeah.
There was no.
It's like roll riddance, man. I love it.
Just how you like the team that your parents tell you to like until you don't like the things your parents tell you to like anymore. But. So we were having this conversation this afternoon about Georgia playing Florida State in the Orange Bowl, and people opting out. And he looked right at me and was like, Kirby's going to absolutely destroy them. Georgia has backups to backups who are clamoring to play this game, whereas Florida State has people who are doing everything they can to get out of Tallahassee. Like, this is going to get ugly, and everybody knows it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, Kirby, outside of his first year, has been to a New Year's Six Bowl every single year, including the COVID year. I mean, you think about it, like, he's done nothing but put us on the biggest stage in late December and early January. And it's another testament to him that says, this train just keeps going. We didn't make our 3rd straight national championship, but, oh, wow, look, we're in the Orange Bowl. Like, this system just keeps going. The train, again, just keeps rolling along the tracks. And, speaking of tracks, one thing I am going to solve this season is so totally random. One thing I am going to solve is it who's or what's coming down the track? That's the one thing I'm going to solve this offseason is who's or what's coming down the track. So that's right. Coach Trill's offseason plan other than stealing random, sorry, Carter, from bars. So
listen, real quick. So you said
it's just
Kirby,
grammar.
Yeah, you said Kirby. Good luck on the what's and the who's thing. Good luck.
I just want to stir the
you should just ask
because I'll get bored in May. Like,
you should just ask Craig Lawson. Just ask Craig; he'll tell you, and you can move on. Listen, for me, it's Kirby. You mentioned the New Year's Six Bowls, which is just such an incredible run as a Georgia fan. Especially compared to, I mean, guys. like we were losing to Boston College in the Music City Bowl, like not, it's like things were in a tough place. And we are on the biggest stage. And, and I know some people diminish it because of the playoff. You didn't make the playoff and, whatever, but New Year's Six Bowl is a huge thing still for recruiting for like as a primetime game, national television, national stage, all those things. Also, so not only that, Kirby has us there, and people were like, well, we didn't get the three-peat and we didn't make the playoff. I mean, Nick Saban has never won 15 games in a season. Like he's never gone 15-0. Kirby Smart did that in the college football playoff era. And so the stuff that he's accomplished and how hard it is, I don't want people, I think people diminish, and it's really important for Georgia fans, especially right now, diminish how hard it is to win as much as this team has won. And I know it sucks to lose to Alabama. It especially sucks to lose to an Alabama team that you were better than. You had better talent. You had better coaches. Like top to bottom, you had better coaches, and you just got out coached and you just got out physical. And that's tough, but it is hard. Like it is hard to win this many games, period. There's a reason no one has ever three-peated. I don't care what people say about what Minnesota did in the 30s. There's a reason that Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time, at least for now until Kirby Smart passes him, the greatest college football coach of all time, there's a reason he has never gone 15-0. That man has never gone 15-0. Part of it is the BCS is like 14-0. People say all that stuff, whatever. Yeah. He's won the college football playoff multiple times. And none of those seasons – 3 times. None of those seasons has he gone 15-0. I mean, it's hard to do, man. It's hard to do. And so I think I just want to, take a moment to speak to the Georgia fans that just, you gotta take a deep breath and just enjoy where we are, what has happened. And also recognize it's like, dude, you're the number, 5-6 team in the country. We're going to beat Florida State. We're going to end up ranked in the top 3 or 4. Like, I mean, come on. Like, a 13-1 season with a New Year's Six Bowl. We would have taken that so many years if you rewind the tape. And, and also it's a great opportunity for us. You got Carson Beck coming back, which I know we'll talk about that, but you got Carson Beck coming back. You got a lot of players coming back. You got this team set. Georgia was, I think, 9th in the country in the number of snaps played by freshmen this year. Wow. And so you got a very young team. You got 2 true freshman linebackers that played the entire SEC championship game. True freshmen, Raylan Wilson and CJ Allen. And it was like, dude, like there's not many teams winning that SEC championship game running true freshman middle linebackers out there. Like that is hard. Like that's a hard game to win when you got guys that are literally just, no matter how good they are, when you got your quarterbacks of the defense are true freshmen. So I just think we should just keep it in perspective. And I appreciate Coach talking about the New Year's Six stuff because I just hate people. It's going to diminish it even more, right? With the 12-team playoff, and now you got all this stuff, and I just hate the diminishing of the accomplishment and how hard it is to do what Georgia has done. I think it's just really important.
Well, we did 7 straight New Year's Six Bowls. And I remember when Florida fans were talking about how great Mullen was for taking them to like 2 or 3 straight. And you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And like, John, like you said, like just sit back and think 29 games, SEC record. Like Bama has never won that many. And they've had, they had in the top 5 in terms of most wins consecutively, they had 3 of those top 5 teams. And none of them were as much as we were.
Yeah, right.
Like that's, again, I think a lot of us are spoiled now. I think we've all grown accustomed to it. But a lot of us, like our age, who grew up in the Donnan and Richt eras, like, we say, guys, enjoy it. And so, no, I like how you said it. Georgia fans need to take just kind of like a step back in a moment to think, say, we're still in the golden era. One loss doesn't take us out of that. To quote Jeff Dantzler, we are still in the golden era of Georgia football. One loss doesn't put us out. And, it's not like it, and I'll say it this and then I'll end it. It's not like it's one loss to 5-6 South Carolina, or it's not one loss, to like a Mississippi State. No. It's one loss to a 12-1 Alabama team who could very well win the national championship this year. We're not losing to Auburn the week after we beat Florida by 20 points in 97. We're not there anymore, and we never will go back to that as long as Kirby Smart is the head coach.
I think too, to that point, it's kind of a double-edged sword of who that one loss is to, because in spite of all that, like this team, Alabama's probably going to win the national championship. Like very well could. They're probably one of the, favorites.
Are they? They've got to be the favorite in Vegas, right?
Yeah,
I would assume
they're going to lose. They're going to lose to Michigan. We'll talk.
Yeah, Michigan's a 1.5 point favorite as of now.
Okay. Sorry, Hunter. Continue.
But you lose that game that you could have, and you feel like you should have won. Like that Alabama team was the beatable Alabama team if there was the one. Like that's what makes it hurt more to lose to them.
That hurts.
It's like.
It does.
No.
It doesn't hurt me nearly as bad as like 2012, 2017.
Sure. Well,
it's just like nowhere near that. Yeah. But I think that is because of the run. That is because of 29-0. And it's like friend of the show, George Foster says, right? Like it is hard to win a football game, right? Like it's hard to win a football game. And these guys won 29 in a row. Already a record, literally never been done before in the history of the Southeastern Conference. So I don't know. That's why it hurts, and Kim can attest. We were having a conversation last Friday with a friend of ours, with our friend Kelly. And it was like, Kim's like, Jim used to be like, it would take him at least a week, if not longer, to get over a loss like that. And, this one, it was like, it sucked. And I've texted with all of you about it. We've talked about it. John and I recorded an entire episode talking about it, which I think was cathartic for both of us. Yes. But and then I was kind of like, but you know what? It was a heck of a run, and we're gonna move forward. And you know what? And I'm gonna go to the Orange Bowl. Like I'm taking,
forget that, man. F Alabama. Sorry, Carter. Man, Alabama, go win 29 in a row in back-to-back national championships, going 15-0 in the college football playoff era, and then you can come talk to us. Until then, I don't care about your little 3-point win in the SEC championship game. Congratulations. I hope that, you go get your other, 19th that of however many you claim. At the end of the day, we're the University of Georgia. We have Kirby Smart as our head coach. We are at the highest that this program has ever been, and one loss in an SEC championship game by 3. Where you have, a turnover that if it bounces the right way, you have a missed field goal. Like you have all of these things, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and say like it hurt in the moment.
Yes, exactly.
It's not hurt anymore. Like, come on. Like this is like at the end of the day, it's like if Georgia fans, and I'm saying this intentionally to the folks who are listening, if you're still wallowing in your feelings, like pull your big boy pants up. F Alabama, you're the University of Georgia. You still have the best coach in college football currently right now leading your program. He lost one game in the last 30, but he's still the best right now in terms of overall. Like Nick Saban outcoached him on that day, and Nick Saban is the greatest coach of all time. And if Kirby Smart if he always lives in Nick Saban's shadow, that is okay. There are people, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was Nick Saban's right-hand man in Alabama for years, helped build that dynasty. If he lives in that shadow, that's totally fine. Georgia has not won their last national championship under Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is not Dabo Swinney. Kirby Smart is not Ed Orgeron. Kirby Smart has built a program that is here to last. And I just want Georgia fans to know that, yes, it hurt for a moment. And yes, that was the game that if you wanted, if you need to lose one, could you have lost to somebody else? Could it have been like a good, like Jaden Daniels, LSU, Heisman winner, whatever?
Yeah.
It was Alabama. But at the end of the day, Georgia has passed Alabama. They didn't pass them in that game, but Georgia as a program for the long haul, the next 10 years will be a better program than Alabama.
And it's kind of like it goes to me, I think, of The Last Dance when Charles Barkley said, there's no shame in losing to Michael. When you lose to Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in losing to Nick Saban in Alabama.
No.
Especially maybe after his first year when they lost to ULM, that was the rarity. that was the absolute rarity. There's no shame now in losing to Nick Saban. So many have done it, and so many great coaches have lost to Saban.
Yeah, no. Since Kirby Smart has built this program, the only teams that he has lost to, if you take away, that 2019 like weird fluke, whatever happened with South Carolina winning this champ, right? Turnovers and all that stuff. But he hasn't lost to Lane Kiffin. He hasn't lost to Dabo Swinney. He hasn't lost to Jimbo Fisher. He hasn't lost to Ryan Day. He hasn't lost, like, you name Brian Kelly, like you name all of these coaches who every year for the last like 4 or 5 years have been the top 10 coaches in college football. Kirby Smart has beat all of them. He hasn't lost to any of them. He lost to Joe Burrow's LSU team, which and correct. And then he lost to Nick Saban and Alabama, and Nick Saban and Alabama didn't lose any, and then he lost again to Nick Saban and Alabama. I mean, come on. Like, at the end of the day, yes, we should have won that game. Yes, Kirby Smart should have and the whole staff should have coached a better game and been more aggressive in some areas. But to your point, Coach, it's like that Nick Saban is the GOAT, and he is the GOAT, and he's proven that he is the GOAT. And Kirby Smart, maybe one day, he'll win enough to maybe be in that category. But I don't care about my coach at the University of Georgia being the greatest college football coach of all time. I don't care about that. I care about my program being sustainable and being competing for a national championship every year and winning enough of them to feel like we are, I don't have to look back and be like Kirby Smart past Nick Saban for me to be happy at the end of my life with my Georgia football program.
Yeah.
Well, and it's Florida fans, how they feel.
I was about to say, Florida fans used to say, like, it's been 41 years and all that crap. And, they would say 1980 all the time. And then when we won one, they said, it's just going to be another 40 years or another 41. And then we won it back to back. And then you look at them and say, okay, so we've done things that you guys have never even seen as a program. And think about it. We all came from the Spurrier era at Florida, or the Spurrier era at Florida for us as Georgia fans. We've seen like hell. We've seen a level of hell that some fans would never want to realize and never want to ever see to their rival. We've seen it at its worst. And now we've seen it come full circle, and it's wrapped right around. And, I look at Florida fans on Twitter, and to me, it's just glorious because they have nothing to say now. Yeah. We've won back-to-back. We've not only been to the playoff multiple times, we've won the national championship multiple times. And as Kirby said in the locker room in Los Angeles last year, we are the only program to ever win back-to-back national titles in the 4-team playoff era. We're the first and only team to do it. And we're also, to go 15-0 in that season, that's more than a lot of people can say. And having an undefeated season period is more than any Florida team can say, whether the fans say they started playing football in 1906 or 1996.
Yeah. Agreed. Hunter, what were you saying, Hunter?
Well, I was going to say the biggest thing that really stuck out to me, and it didn't really hit me until I heard John say it, was like Georgia lost one game in the last 30.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy to actually try to process in your head in college football, especially today's college football where talent's pretty widespread. I mean, sure, you have Georgia who stockpiles talent, but like, it's hard to win on a week-to-week basis. And you played 30 games and lost one
by 3.
That's crazy. And it took a turnover and a missed field goal to do it. To lose by 3 to the GOAT.
Yeah.
It's like Big George. It's like Big George says. It's hard to win a football game.
Hard to win a football game. JP, where do we want to go now? Where do we want to go?
I don't know, man. It's a Christmas party.
The Christmas party.
This is kind of like the equivalent of talking work at your company Christmas party, right? You're not supposed to do that.
I mean, all right. I'm going to throw something out there.
And I'm out. I need another drink.
Coach needs to go get a refill.
Coach, you're clearly not prepared. You just have
at
to
our
have the
company
bottle.
Christmas parties. These types of beverages aren't really there. So Hunter can also chime in on that rule.
I can speak to it. Look, I went to my first Christmas party as the boss a couple days ago. I did not touch a drop of alcohol. It was so weird.
Brother, you are braver than me, but you are also stronger and more well paid than me. So respect, my friend. Respect.
You just got to have a bottle nearby.
Yeah. Little flask in the back pocket. Just
Well, I don't know. I could sit here and argue with JP about whether A Christmas Story is a good or not a good Christmas movie for an hour, but I don't know what y'all want to talk about.
No, I would rather not talk about Christmas movies.
Listen, I'm Team Home Alone over here, so that's all I got.
I've been in the text thread with the Christmas movies and JP, and listen, I love John Powell with all of my heart. But boy, some of these tastes in Christmas movies. So maybe we can
table that. We can table that for another time.
Hey man, everybody has their own tradition. I'm currently wearing my Die Hard Christmas shirt.
We could talk that. For those who aren't watching on YouTube, and for those who are and who are curious about what the heck I'm wearing, this is actually a Georgia ugly sweater. So there are G's on it.
Wow.
So I've had this for I don't know. I bought this for an ugly sweater party years ago, and still get it out for such occasions as this.
I was hoping that people were just going to like sit by and just take it was Ponda's famous Christmas sweater.
Yeah. We're heading down to Lou and Ponda's actually this weekend. So we'll be traveling down into Georgia a bit for Christmas.
That's a good
time to say you guys going to Jefferson.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're gonna go. So we are usually at home for Christmas. This will actually be the first time ever with our kids that they've been Christmas morning away from home.
But Santa's not going to know how to get there, Jim.
He's got
GPS and GIS. John is okay.
I totally made that joke already at the house. I was like, "How's Santa going to find us?" But so we're going to do Christmas with Kim's sister and family. So we've got our nephew. Wanted to do Christmas with him while everything is still magical. He's young. So we're going to go do that. So we're going to drop by Nicholson on the way down to Buford. So we'll be down there for Christmas.
Well, when you pass Dylan Raiola, tell him we said. No, I'm just kidding. That's my Georgia redneck fan. So.
JP, I know you're going all around the world.
Yeah, aren't you going to Baltimore?
Yeah, today was my last day at work, allegedly. I posted a video of the chaos that I was expecting today, and there was a lot of chaos. So I think I still got a couple of things I gotta wrap up. But yeah, last day of work was today. Kids are out of school, so we're heading to Chattanooga tomorrow to go do. I guess it's kind of become a yearly thing now. We've done it a few years now, so. We're going to go check out the Rock City, and we're staying at the Reed House. If you've ever been there, it's kind of a cool old style hotel. Spend a few days up there doing the Chattanooga thing, and then come home for Christmas. And then a few days later, we're heading to Asheville to go and do the Asheville thing again, staying at the same property that we stayed at earlier this year. And then I'm going to do Christmas at Biltmore. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Big fan of Asheville and the Biltmore.
My cousin used to work there. He lives in Asheville, or used to live in Asheville. Went to high school up there, and he worked there during late high school, early college, over breaks and stuff. But most of it was during, winter break and everything. It is worth it. He always said, he's like, yes, I work there, but he's like, it is worth it. It is truly a wonderful place to be for the holiday. So you guys will really enjoy it.
Yeah, we did the Atlanta version of that a few weeks ago. We went to the Callenwald. I don't know if any of you guys have been there. Atlanta folks.
Yeah. No. Where is it in Atlanta?
It's actually it's kind of in close to Cheshire Bridge Road. If you've ever been to the Colonnade, it's a solid 10 minutes from the Colonnade.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of in the middle of Midtown, down Midtownish, Midtown Highlands. Ponce Highlands. It's in that area over there.
Nice.
It's
John,
definitely a cool spot.
What do you got going on this holiday?
JP Casablanca Cigar Bar in Asheville is right by the Biltmore. It's fantastic cigar bar. They got really nice ventilation. They got good whiskeys. It's a good place if you have time. No, for me, I stay close to my bourbon. therefore I stay close to my house for the holidays. Nice. And so all of our family is within a couple hours, except for my brother who lives in Oregon, who they came for Thanksgiving, so they won't be here. But we just do family stuff on Saturday. So Christmas it's the 23rd, 24th, 25th is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we'll do family stuff around here. So I'll be able to, cart flask and bottles from here to there and, stay in a great state of mind to deal with all of my gigantic extended family who live all around. And it's going to be great. And I love them all. Shout out to all of you who are listening. Love you very much.
Love the Smiths.
I'm so excited for my uncle to show up and say, I've been meaning to get this off my chest, and I ain't had a chance to say anything. And just say like something super, that moment that like just kills the whole thing. We always have kind of one or two of those moments, and so hopefully those will happen. So it'll still be Christmas, but have a great time with Dawgs forever. So we'll cook some food and open some presents and. Hey, Michael Smith is in Oregon, so we won't see him. So shout out to him.
Do y'all do a family FaceTime with Hey Michael?
We do, yeah. We send a box of gifts and we do a family FaceTime. Open up gifts with the cousins. So we'll do that.
That's fun.
Yeah,
good times.
I'm kind of getting sentimental on my end. This might be, I don't know for sure, but this might be our last holiday going to Georgia.
Last holiday, what?
Depending on how it goes, we want to have Christmas here at our house, and I know next year the baby will be really little, but like
Hunter, let me take a step back real quick. Let me stop you, okay? So you're a new parent, all right, and you're gonna have a grandchild, okay, and you're gonna have grandparents. They're gonna want to see that grandchild. So whatever you're going to say next,
I know where you're going.
No, wait, no. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to break news that you're not going to take your grandchild to see their grandparents on Christmas on a podcast. So if you're breaking this news now, I would stop you. I would encourage you, back it up a little bit and think about what you're going to commit to. In case any family member is listening to this podcast, you don't want to be breaking news to your grandparents. In any format,
no.
They can't immediately.
That's the cold open.
It's where they can't immediately. It's where they can't immediately react and respond. You have to break news to grandparents where they can immediately react and respond and ask questions, and not in a place where they're going to find and they're going to be able to stew about it until you can tell them what's really going to happen. So
right. So
what the hell is this about you going?
Full disclaimer.
Y'all ain't coming to Georgia.
Wait, can I get another beer before we break this news?
Yeah. Oh, so good.
We have discussed the possibility, not a newsbreaker.
Okay.
About what holidays might look like, and
who are the people in Georgia? What are their names?
So we have Megan's her parents. They're divorced and remarried, both of them.
But
so her dad and stepmom live in Alpharetta.
Yeah, is that Greg and?
No, that's Robbie and Dawn.
Robbie and Dawn.
Does John know the whole family? Holy crap!
Okay, because we're real friends, Coach.
We're tight.
All right, so Robbie and Dawn, keep going, Hunter. Robbie and Dawn.
Anyway, and then
Robbie and Dawn.
Greg and Sherry live on Lake Sinclair.
Okay, so hang on one second. Robbie and Dawn and Greg and Sherry. Hunter and Megan have not made any decisions around what they're going to do for the holidays when the baby gets here. Okay, they're thinking about what makes sense for them and what they want for their family traditions, but they have not made any decisions. And I hope that you all four understand that, and they will consult with you on their decisions to make sure that it works for everyone, so that everyone can see the baby for the holidays. And that no one will be cut out unexpectedly. And Hunter will be sending some more important and clear communication around it when the baby gets here and when they figure out what they're going to do. But just take a deep breath, Hunter. Hunter ain't going to keep the grandchild from you on Christmas.
I second
the
that.
barrel proof.
So good.
That's a good message.
I am, and I'm drinking the Stellum Black Label, which is it's 110 proof, so it's not too high, but it's up there. Anyway, sorry, Hunter. I'm sorry, Hunter. I just stepped off.
I'm over here like wiping my eyes.
We also the pro husbands.
We're just trying to help you. We've been there, Hunter. Listen, I tried to make some decisions for my family a long time ago, and you know what's going to happen? I'm going to drive and see my parents on Christmas. My kids are 14 and 12, so.
Well, this ain't a Hunter making no. I'm told.
I'm kidding.
This is what I'm told. But this room that you see behind me, and then the room next door, I'm putting them in U-Hauls tomorrow to bring to Georgia, because the room I'm sitting in right now is the nursery. And nothing in here other than the couple memorabilia and obviously the bourbon is staying. None of the furniture is staying. It's all completely, we're either getting rid of it, or what is Megan's grandparents is going back to Georgia on the U-Haul on Thursday morning. So the sentimental part of it is not just holidays. It's everything that I have here is about to change tomorrow.
Wow. So gone is Hunter's bourbon room, and pretty soon he's going to be rocking a baby on the podcast next time.
Love it. I love it for y'all. Congratulations.
I've got a pro tip on this, because I made a mistake when the room that was my office, and this was when we had our second kid. So when Lily was born, the room that was my office became Lily's room. And when we rearranged stuff, I ended up, I had all my memorabilia in that room, and it ended up in the corner nook in our master bedroom, and that didn't go over well. Don't do that, Hunter. Just pro tip.
A corner nook.
Yeah,
it's not in the master bedroom, but I'm getting a corner nook in the next bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Well done. But so traveling to Georgia though, we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to this trip, because I always enjoy. As y'all know, y'all are in the chat and on the Twitter. Me and Greg get into the bourbons over Christmas holidays, and especially when we get on the smoker and football bowl games are on. So I always get him a bottle of bourbon for Christmas, and then it usually doesn't make it past when I leave to come back.
Love it. That's the way it should be. What's on AP Jones's menu this week or next week?
I don't know. We always do a brisket.
Okay.
We always do gumbo, but I have not had a confirmation on either, because like I said, we're not going to be there as long this time either, because I have to go back to school earlier than I normally would with the new contract. So I'm not sure what's exactly going to be on the menu, but I know for sure we're going to break out the smoker at some point. And I think they were talking about doing a trip over to Reynolds. Maybe we'll run into Bobby. I don't know.
Yes.
Bobby Wilson.
Might run into Kirby over there.
Yeah, seriously. Coach, are you staying local? You got any travel?
Yeah. Just with everything I've been going through, and some of the listeners know, but I've been through a lot of changes recently, just personally in my life. And a couple of things I just wanted to say. You guys, I'll never forget it. This summer I was driving down to the beach, and I was listening to the podcast, and I thought, after everything I've been through, just in my personal life, you guys helped bring me back. You guys helped bring me back to who I am, and you guys have been really good friends, and you guys have been really consistent in my life. And so I think back to this holiday is going to be a little bit different for me, but I'm still going to see my kids. I'm still going to be with my parents. I'm still going to be with my brother, still going to be with my family. But it's you guys that have brought me back to who Coach Trill really is and who I am as David. Those of you that know me as David. And this season was so special to me, because seeing a lot of you in Athens and meeting all of you. Hunter I met for the first time this year, and John I think I met last year. I met you last year at a game. Yep. But and then Jim and John, I've met you guys before, and Jim, I've known you for years. But at the same time, I know we go way back. We go way back to when I was in kindergarten. Let's be real. But at the same time, you guys brought me back, and I got to give a shout out to this guy. I know a lot of Georgia fans are pretty mad at him on the Twitters, but Chris Marlar was one of the best friends I could have had. And I told Jim before we started, I listen to My Got a podcast and I listen to his podcast, and that's it. And I got to get into Sanford 100. I really got to get into that. And that's my off-season goal, is to get into that podcast. But at the same time, you guys brought me back. And I know Chris gets a lot of crap from Georgia fans, and some of it's undeserved because to me, he's pretty non-biased for a Bama fan, but at times he is a Bama fan. So I get why Georgia fans are mad. But and I say that to say this, is that I go into the holidays and I think about the people that have been closest to me this year, and it's you guys. And it's you guys to a T. And you guys are some of my best friends, and you guys are some of my closest people that know me the best as a person and know me outside of Twitter and Coach Trill.
Right.
And I feel like those of you that know me the best know that I am as crazy in real life as I am on Twitter, and know that when John says, Coach, just fill that up with bourbon. We're going to Hug Dawgs tailgate. And then we go down to Hug Dawgs tailgate, and I don't remember half of it. And I'm walking with Brett Belding, talking to him about where he also lives close to me. And then we get in there, and I look at Jim one time, and I'm like, I think I'm going to go in the stadium. And I walk into the stadium, and I meet Kendall Milton's dad on the sideline somehow, and then talk to Drew Butler. And I realize I've had one of the best times of my life, and it's because of some of the people closest to me. So this holiday, I'm not only going to spend it with my family, but I'm also extremely grateful for you guys and the people you are, because even from going back to the summer, you guys are the ones that brought me back to who I really am and made me feel loved, made me feel appreciated, and not only loved and appreciated, but the over-unders, those aren't going away. So if there's any fan that wants to disagree with me on Twitter about, because there was one fan, I forget for which game, disagreed with me on an over-under, and I was like, I was so heated. I was so heated that
I feel like it was John Powell. I'm just saying.
Not my time. No, that's the funniest thing. John was like, this over-under is bullshit. Sorry, Carter. This over is BS. And then it literally hit exactly the way it said. And I was like, told you.
Yeah, I think
it was the first half points against Tech, and I
think it was John Powell.
Yes. Over-unders are going to stay, because over-unders are something I love. But also, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And also,
cheers.
My kids, I talk about Georgia football so much with my kids. My kids know the Dawgs, they know the cheers, and I swear it's funny because we listen to you guys in the car with my kids, and my dad and my son will be like, Daddy's friends. And I'm like, yep, Daddy's friends. We're going to listen to them, and not Toy Story for the 30,000th time. Just get ready for it, Hunter. It's coming in 2 years.
It's coming, Hunter.
You Got a Friend in Me only gets so old so soon.
All I got to say is
the Spanish version lasts for about a solid month, and then you're sick of that too. You're like, lo que esto de nombre, no, señor. Sorry.
You gotta get Bluey in there.
Bluey, my kids love Bluey. Yeah, no, Bluey's great. Hunter, Tip.
I'm a big fan of Bluey.
John Powell knows,
I'm a big fan of Bluey. I got a little niece. She just turned 2, so I've been getting my practice in, and I'm a big fan of Bluey.
My kids are 14 and help you. We're 14 and 17, and we like Bluey. So
nice.
Like we Bluey is
Bluey's like Star Wars. It spans generations.
Yeah, for sure. We actually got introduced to it because of our nephew. So Kim's sister had told us about Bluey, and so we checked it out. Do Granny's Floss. That was our first ever episode we watched. It was pretty amazing. It was a good one.
So the long extended answer was that, but Jim, I am still local in Atlanta. Hunter, let me know if you need help moving. I can gladly help you. Also, guys, I'll be here for Christmas in Atlanta, Metro Atlanta. If you want to hit me up for a drink at Coach Trill Bill, DM me. DMs are open.
DMs are open.
What we got going on?
Awesome.
You can debate coaches over unders in person.
Yeah, exactly. Square up, bro.
Really hoping to hook up with the 2 Marietta guys here, and Coach Trill obviously too when I get up to Alpharetta. I don't know about John Powell. He's pretty booked, but
I'll be here a few days.
It's been a while since we had a meetup. What was that? 2 summers ago, where we met downtown Marietta?
Yeah,
that was fun. We could actually go back to the same bar, and I think it's decorated for Christmas vacation right now.
That little trailer, was it a trailer? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I saw that. I saw the pictures you sent of that.
That was a different one. That was a different trailer. That was
I can't keep up.
Melt Yard. They've got it decorated for Home Alone.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I got my Christmas movies mixed up. My bad.
Well, it's easy in Marietta because they've got the Home Alone pop up. They've got the Christmas Vacation pop up, and then I think Hamp and Harry's, John. They've got the Grinch, right?
Yeah.
I've not had much luck at these pop-up bars. So where I live, pop-up bars are not even a thing. But like apparently they're a big deal in Atlanta and Metro Atlanta.
They're a big deal. Yeah, the Marietta Square where I
or
live,
so they decorated.
Yeah, the Marietta Square where I live, they have I think like 4 of them up right now that are.
We went to a pop-up bar. The first time I ever went to a pop-up bar, I think it was either last year or the year before, in Alpharetta. Got COVID. Like within 2 days of being in this pop-up bar, got COVID, and then last year. Or whatever, the very next year, went to another pop-up bar, same thing, got COVID again. So, Alpharetta,
stay away from the
bars, got to stay away from.
Man, COVID originated in a pop-up bar in Alpharetta, not in wherever they say it originated.
Yeah, pop-up bar called Bar Wuhan.
Yeah, I was saying.
There we go. Now the bourbon's flowing. Here we go.
Now we go.
I thought it was just Indianapolis because like everyone who went to the first natty got COVID. I'm just saying.
Jesus, I got COVID after the first natty.
I never tested positive, but I had symptoms.
I never tested, but I know I had COVID because we were in a Airbnb with 7 people. Shout outs to Clinton Daniel, co-host of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
That's right.
Shout outs to Dawgs Forever, my brother, and Hey Michael Smith, my brother. We were there. It was us 5 adults and 2 of Daniel and Clint's, one of Daniel's sons and one of Clint's sons, and 5 of the 7 tested positive for COVID. I never tested, but I was sick, so I know.
Well, all I know is I was in that stadium. I went out to a bar and we saw like Bobby Wilson, saw a bunch of people, and it was like shoulder to shoulder. I mean, shoot, John, I saw you. I saw everyone you just mentioned. I saw all of y'all.
Yeah,
I like hugged everyone too. So I know I was sick when I got home, but I tested negative. But there's no way I didn't have it. There's no way I didn't have it. There's no way I didn't have it.
Yeah, no. Shout out to Trayley Hale, Keely Ringo's mom. We were walking past Indianapolis. We came out of the stadium, freezing cold. We're walking past. There's like the stadium, and then there's like a convention center. We're walking past the convention center. She is inside the convention center in the warmth with someone there, and they have glass doors, like floor to ceiling glass doors, and so we all started yelling, go Dogs, and like pumping her up and whatever. And so she runs over and she bangs on those doors, and I thought she was going to break the doors. Keely Ringo's mom banging on the doors, go F it, sorry Carter, Dogs. Boom, boom, boom. Just banging on those doors. It will always be a lifetime memory for me of Keely Ringo's mom.
That's awesome.
Trying to break the doors down at the convention center, yelling "Go Dogs" after.
What I hear you saying, John, is that was an omen.
Let's say, wait, was this before the game or after the game?
It was after the game.
Oh, okay, after the game. Oh, yeah. Dang.
So after what she saw her son do.
After what she saw her son do after the game. That's what I mean. It will be a lifetime moment for me because it was after. I've actually got a picture. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter when the episode is posted. Yes. I've got a picture of her in the convention center right before she came over and started banging on the doors because we were yelling at her, and I took a picture, and she came running over there and started banging on the doors. It's great.
Man.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Man, and that was just the first of 2.
That was just
back to back.
Boy,
I mean, it is still. We've talked about like the eras that we grew up in and everything, and it is. If you were to tell like 13-year-old me,
if you were to tell
we'd be doing this right now, I wouldn't have believed it.
If you were to tell Hunter and JP from that year that we would be doing it again a year later.
Yeah. Oh yeah, seriously.
If you're watching on the YouTube, there's Keely Ringo's mom.
Amazing.
Right there before she came and banged on the doors after the game. I'll post that on Twitter. It's good.
So I do want to know who is going to go to Atlanta for Clemson to open next year, because I have nothing but fond memories of the last time we played Clemson.
That was the first. We're gonna run it back.
Pretty famous line that I infamously sent to the group chat in the fourth quarter in Charlotte.
Well, that was also the Inside Sources uniform. League ahead of the game. I'm not to bring that up,
guys.
Color Rush.
We're not capital J journalists. It's not that serious. have fun on Twitter, man.
We're legit mad at Hunter.
Oh,
preview of next year's over-unders for Clemson.
Yes.
The first half points for Clemson, 3.5.
Love it.
Look, as long as we get to light that bitch up in the fourth quarter, good.
Sorry, Carter.
Sorry, Carter.
Oh man.
Yes. Light this man.
AP Jones in his office.
Yeah.
Did you really say you're gonna light that bitch up?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
did.
That was in the texter.
No, this is AP Jones talking to Coach Trill, the actual teacher. Coach, Did you really tell the kid you're gonna light that?
Hold on, we have someone in the green room.
Do we?
We do.
Oh, is it Carter? Sorry, Carter.
I know. Funny story, real quick. Carter, you stole my popcorn at the Kentucky game, and that was hilarious. Sorry, buddy. That was hilarious, by the way. He took my popcorn at the Kentucky game when I came back from the concession stand. He grabs like a handful of it. That was so funny to me. It was before we took the picture with your nephew, Jim.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, man, it was so funny. John, I've been meaning to tell you that. It was the hilarious thing. He just like grabbed a handful of popcorn, shoved it in his mouth, and just started laughing. I was like, yes. I was like, this is why I love this kid. Absolute savage.
I never heard about that one.
Dude, he did it behind your back, man. This kid is sneaky, man. I'm telling you. Carter, you used to teach middle school, man. I know. You sneaky.
He's so sneaky because he's supposed to be asleep.
10:41,
man. I like it. Burning
right,
the midnight oil.
Hunter, you wanted to have a bourbon something.
Anything. Bourbon. We've got the experts here.
Okay.
I'm referring to Jon Tweets primarily, and obviously John Powell. These are my two bourbon. Other than my father-in-law Greg, who these are the two that helped get me really into bourbon. I know they did the same thing with you, Jim.
Yeah.
What is your go-to this holiday season? Like you're dealing with family. The nights are late. Like the vibes are good. What are you pulling out every night?
Go for it, John. I'll let you go first.
I mean, for me, it's probably going to be Eagle Rare. I've got only because I've got so much of it in reserve.
Wow. Humble brag. Humble brag. Humble brag.
Is it a humble brag? I mean, it's not like I said I got Weller 12.
I mean, for North Carolinians, it is over there. We can't get it.
Yeah.
But
so I have I have two, and I'll give you two because one of them can be very hard to find and very expensive. But High West Distillery, which is my favorite distillery, they make a whiskey called a Midwinter Night's Dram. And it is a blend of rye whiskeys that is finished in both tawny wine and port wine and ruby port wine barrels. So tawny port and ruby port, sweet wine barrels, basically. And so you get the rye and the spice, and then you get the sweet wine. And it is Christmas in a glass for me. And so that is the whiskey that not only do I drink around the holidays, it's a whiskey that I set out for Santa with cookies instead of milk. I give Santa Midwinter.
This is what I told Meg. I'm going to interject. I'm sorry. I said, Meg, we're talking about like our Christmas traditions that we want to have. I said, Santa in our house eats cookies and drinks bourbon.
Listen, my Santa in our house has gotten my kids have set out cookies, and Santa has gotten Weller 107 a couple years ago, got High West Midwinter's Night's Dram last year. But a Midwinter Night Dram is my holiday whiskey in a glass. You know, the sweet port wine with the brag. Listen, I don't keep. That's not listen, but I don't keep. I mean, it's about $100 a bottle. I buy one. Listen, I buy one every season and keep it through the holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so it's a very special occasion whiskey. For my non-special occasion, I I really like the Old Ezra 7, which is a barrel strength Old Ezra Brooks. It's one of the smoother, it's a high proof if you like high proof, and it's one of the smoother high proof whiskeys that you can drink. It also has a lot, Hunter, you'll like this, has a lot of caramel and vanilla for a high proof whiskey. So I like that. And then the one that's like lower proof, not, if you want to live, lower than that. I like Old Granddad Bonded. So it's 100 proof. It's right. Good. Hits
I've been mulling over buying Old Granddad every time. I think I text y'all. I think it was right after Thanksgiving. I was down in Milledgeville, and I saw a bottle of Old Granddad, and y'all were like, "Yeah, it's a little above what you need to pay for it." So I kind of passed.
Yeah, but old Granddad Bonded, Old Ezra Brooks 7, and if you want to splurge, the High West Midwinter's Night Dram are the ones I go to in the holidays.
That Midwinter's I've never even seen. I've never even had an opportunity to buy.
Yeah, I would like to get one of those as well. If
my bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm always like,
and $100. That must be the Jon Tweets Whitlock package special.
I don't know. Okay. Listen. I have relationships with whiskey store owners, and so I don't know. I can't tell you what the retail price is. I tell you what I pay. I don't know. I'm sorry. Hey. If you go somewhere and you see it on the shelf and it's like $200, don't buy it. It's not a $200 whiskey, but yeah, those are my 3 that I dip into around the holidays. And you also can't beat. I mean, I'll tell you, I told my brother he called me the other day. He was at the liquor store and he was like, "Hey, I want to make old fashions. What should I mix up with?" And I told him Evan Williams, Bottled and Bond, the white label Evan Williams. Like if you're making old fashions or bourbon cocktails, like perfect. Rittenhouse Rye, which is another Bottled and Bond from Heaven Hill. If you're mixing stuff up, those are 2 good ones too.
I've got that white label.
It's interesting, Hunter. The only times I've been to Vaught Hemingway, I've been twice. Every time I've gone to the bathroom, I've seen the mini liquor bottles of Old Granddad in the toilets.
There you go.
Every time at Vaught Hemingway, I'm 2 for 2.
An undergrad at Ole Miss, the bourbon that we primarily drank that was like widespread was Woodford.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like, I feel like that was back before Woodford was like expensive. Like I feel like Woodford back then you could get a bottle for like $30. And it was, you're doing fine. But now I go to my local liquor store and Woodford's like $50. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. Dang. Supply and demand.
Sorry, Jim, I totally interrupted you.
I've got the Weller Special 12 tonight. Weller Special Reserve, not 12, not the 12.
I was like, Jim is pulling out Weller 12.
Sorry, I had that like once and it was in my head. This is the green label, which John, you introduced me to bring it back to the Clemson game when you had this in your combos.
Here, I'll go get
for the price. For the price,
dude, Ancient HH 10-star.
That is a good
solid.
This is solid.
Solid too.
That is a good one, and that's another frequent of Greg. Greg likes to have that one. Or what's that, Coach?
This is Calumet 10. Calumet 10. And I'll tell you this is what I drank before the Kentucky game. Mm-hmm. And this is Calumet I love. I like this better than their 12-year. Their 10 years solid. I tried this honestly at a restaurant first, and I really, really liked it. I just use this kind of like a nightcap. This is like my go-to for celebratory bourbon right here. Like this was my go-to for every SEC big win. Kentucky, Tennessee, Ole Miss, just solid through and through, smoothest. I got this on my birthday. This is my go-to. And that's but Jim, you brought up the Weller Special Reserve.
Yeah.
Consistent. That's my consistent pick for the holidays. Yeah. Calumet 10, if you want to go special, this is just me.
I will say I love Weller, especially the Special Reserve, but I have not, cannot find it here. So my go-to has been, and Jim knows, the Old Elk.
Yeah.
We didn't get to witness it because it was the pre-podcast. We had a
the podcast before the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast before the podcast Bottle Kill. So Old Elk is the go-to for me, especially this time of year. I feel like it's got that very sweet, like John was talking about, the Christmassy type flavors that you would want to get. Old Elk's got it.
Yeah, that's actually what we had that last night.
Yeah,
we had that last night. Yeah, the weeded. Yeah, I think I had we have like a weeded store pick or something that I had last night. It was fantastic.
So, Jim, is there any Honda's famous bean dip in the Christmas forecast?
Okay, so
Honda's famous house.
You know what?
Honda's famous basement.
I won't. Since there won't be a Georgia game while we're there, probably not. I will say I had some store-bought bean dip today as like a snack that someone had left. My daughter had like she had a Secret Santa party with her friends, and one of the friends brought like a tray of they got a store, and I had it today as a snack. And I was
the 7-layer dip or whatever.
Yeah, but it just wasn't the same.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I did the same thing. I bought some bean dip and I was like, oh, this is not it.
It's an easy recipe. It's on our Instagram.
I got to tell you, we had, so for those of you that don't know, Megan coaches Ocean Springs High School cheer team. She's the assistant coach. They had their Christmas party 2 days ago, and the cheer husbands were invited, and it was kind of a bring, like all the girls and their parents brought food or whatever, and there was a bean dip there, and it
allegedly
looked exactly like the pictures of Panda's famous bean dip that I had seen on Twitter. So naturally I had to try it. Obviously I never had Panda's, but this one was really good, and it looked just like it. So I'm imagining that Panda's is just that much better,
Obviously, I would say, how is that, Hunter? We have to fix this. How have you not had the bean dip? That's on me. I apologize. We will rectify that. So,
I have a feeling there's been at least a few tailgates that Hunter hasn't made it down for.
Yeah, I always get stuck at
right.
Like that's where I get stuck.
Yeah, that's what I met Hunter. Hunter offered me a job at Hug Dog's tailgate. Let's be real.
I did. I told him, I said, if you ever want to come to Mississippi, like you need a clean slate. I'm looking for a PE teacher and a football coach right now. Like,
the funniest thing is I was like, I'm certified in PE. I've coached football. I'm ready to do it. Like, I have all like the documentation for like head football coach. Like, I got all the forms. I got all the plays,
the over unders. Obviously.
But then I'm like, I'm 7 hours away from my kids. I was like, my mom would shoot me. But at the same time, I was like, work for AP Jones?
Hey. AP Jones is trying to come to Georgia.
That's right.
I'm about to say, no, I got to get him up here in Fulton and Forsyth.
Too good.
Sorry, Hunter, I'm not going to take you away from your people down there. So.
Oh no, you're good. You're not the only one. There's the options are open. I've got a really good friend. Is it Fulton County is where Johns Creek is? Johns Creek.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Chris Shearer, best leader that I have ever had the opportunity to talk to. I would work for that guy tomorrow if he would let me.
All right, we gotta talk about this later because that name sounds familiar. We gotta remind me of this, Hunter.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, what Christmas traditions are on the offing? Like what are the traditions?
I already gave you mine. I stay close to my bourbon, and that's my tradition.
Okay, I'll ask this. Maybe we can end with this. I know we're not here to debate movies, but if we could go around the robin, is there a movie for each of you? What is the movie that you're like, it's not Christmas until I see this movie? Coach, kick us off. Do you have one?
Yes, Home Alone. Okay. Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, easily, just back to back.
Okay,
nice. Like Georgia goes, back to back.
Yes. All right, who wants to go next? Anyone else got one?
Die Hard. I watched it on Christmas Eve.
Hunter, you had one?
Mine's the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yes.
I was thinking the Santa Claus too. No, mine honestly is the Chronicles of Narnia for some reason.
What?
Our kids really like the books. It's like it's like it came out. I think the movies came out during Christmas and we saw them in the theater during Christmas. And so I think there's a correlation there.
So not like the cartoons, the live action ones.
Yes, not the old school. No.
Right.
But also just like traditional Christmas would I mean, it's gonna have to be Home Alone. That's for us. Just has to be. And I couldn't make up another one to not have the same answer as Coach, but I'm gonna be myself and just tell you it's Home Alone. Period.
That's
because
fair.
it's the GOAT. Thank you.
I mean, that's my number 2. Yeah. And it's close.
We watch all the Santa Clauses too, by the way, though. We watch Christmas movies starting basically the Thanksgiving night.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we've already started.
I've seen Christmas Vacation probably 3 or 4 times at this point.
I was about to say, we kind of have a tradition here where me and Meg, we go through all the Home Alones and all the Santa Clauses before we go to Georgia. And then when we go to Georgia, we have to watch Christmas Vacation. Like, we have to. Her family, like, they bought us all T-shirts with different characters on the T-shirts.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I will not say A Christmas Story to annoy John and also because that comes on 24 hours, so that maybe kind of doesn't count. So mine is a shorter one. Like, I don't know, do any of the Rankin Bass ones like count? Because to me, I always have to watch 'Twas the Night Before Christmas on Christmas Eve, like the animated short, with the people and the mice.
Like the 80s movie? Yeah.
That's even older than that, I think. Although now they've when you watch it now, there's like a piece that I feel like wasn't in it on TV, and there's this weird there's a song that they had took out for a while, now they put it back, and that has a kind of weird leprechaun thing. So I don't like that part. But other than that, that's still mine. So I don't know.
Any of y'all watch like the claymation?
That's such a Jim Wood answer.
Yeah. Like the Year Without a Santa Claus.
That's what I'm talking about. All those, like Rudolph, which there's a murder.
The claymation ones.
There's a murder.
My dad likes those a lot. Yeah.
There's a murder in Rudolph, by the way. Technically,
I'm gonna age myself, but those are like the ones I grew up watching as a kid.
Yeah, man, I love all of
those.
Like
for that reason too. Yeah,
I love all of those.
What about you guys in the Polar Express, or do your kids like the Polar Express? A little bit newer, but still, I've always thought it's solid.
I think,
but at the same time, it's like I think my son's about almost 5, so I think he would enjoy it to a degree. But like Polar Express, I've always loved.
Read him the book first, and then let him watch the movie.
Even better idea.
Yeah, there's a movie from 1991 that is, I think it has one of the worst ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
Jingle All the Way?
No. It's called All I Want. It's called All I Want for Christmas. And there's no one that you have ever heard of in this movie. But man, it is, if you want to watch one of the worst, best Christmas movies, it's a movie called All I Want for Christmas. I think you can find it on Prime Video, or one of those streaming services, but it is very interesting.
I just wrote that down.
Yeah. So these kids basically lock their mom's fiance in an ice cream truck and have him basically shipped off to New Jersey. And and it's and they're trying to make their mom mad at him and break up with him, basically, is the idea. It's a wild ride.
It's a wild ride.
All I Want for Christmas in 1991. You should look it up.
All right. Has anyone else seen Santa Claus the movie? It was classic, not classic, but it's like a completely 80s movie.
Not Tim Allen, Santa Claus.
Not Tim Allen. It's called it's called Santa Claus: the movie.
Oh no, I've not seen that.
Is that okay? That's not the one with what was the guy that plays like a leprechaun in that movie?
An elf.
Sorry, an elf.
Dudley Moore is an elf.
Yeah.
And John Lithgow was the villain.
Yes, I've seen this movie.
Okay, great movie. Wood family. John, it's up there with Crossroads. You know what only JP knows what I mean. Good stuff. All right. Well, we can probably hang around if anybody wants to, but maybe we can cut it for the folks. For the, I don't know, first ever, but maybe first annual My God, a Podcast Christmas.
I mean,
spectacular.
It was good. I like it. A Christmas Bazaar. Is that what they used to call them?
Dude, I kind of wanted to get someone on what's the site where you can pay people to do voiceovers? It was the My God, a Podcast Christmas special featuring Coach Trill Bill, Jon Tweets Sports, the Jones.
It'd be so good. And if you could have had them edit it so that our faces pop up,
yes, exactly.
And you're doing some action shot.
Oh, it'd be so good.
You're looking to the side, and you're like,
yeah.
Like looking back surprised. I don't know, something like that. It could work. Next year.
It's kind of funny. Ironically, I did all the over-unders for Florida State today.
Yes.
I did them
on the
work.
way. On the next episode.
I have to say, on the next episode, I'm very excited about Jason Hasty's Hargrett history segment.
If it doesn't include anything about 2002, I'll cry. I need something about Bowden versus Rick. Like, I just need a little bit.
I'll work that in.
A teaser on Bowden. Like,
I've got that. I've got that.
I was about to say Jim's probably got something on that.
teaser.
The funniest thing is if you look at I guess it was the video they made after the SEC championship game that year, and they show like on the field, and Bobby Rick's is like so like business. He's like, "Hey, coach, how's it going?" And Bowden's like, "Hey, man, how's it going? It's good to see you here again." And Rick's just like, "Okay, thanks, coach." It's just like the funniest thing to me because Bowden was just like, "Yeah, okay, cool, we'll lose. We got Fabian Washington at quarterback."
Oh my gosh, that game was wild. I have one other anecdote about the leading into that game that I'll save. I just thought of one other thing for the front of the show, but I'll do that later. But yeah, this was the merging of the text threads. This is the bringing everybody together. You guys all interact with us, are part of the show, and it's been awesome to hang out for the Christmas party. Appreciate y'all all coming on.
Had a great time.
Amen. Cheers, awesome. Cheers, boys.
Really awesome.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Let's go, baby.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.